You've seen them all over the internet, these insane widebody kits on everything from 350Zs and 240SXs to Subaru BRZs and 86s and even some muscle cars. And now you're thinking, maybe I should do that to my car. Whether for show or for go, the widebody kit is one of the most divisive and controversial mods in the entire community. To widebody or not to widebody? That is the question. Let's talk about it. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Sean, and today we're talking about widebody kits and should you widebody your car. But before we jump right in, make sure you smash that like button and leave me a comment down below on what car you own or if you would consider slapping on a set of over fenders. Also, I put out new car content every single week, so you'll want to make sure that you're subscribed so that you can join the community. Ever since the creation of the automobile, people have been wanting to make their cars more unique or go faster than the next guy in between the red lights. Racing has been the biggest influence to every single automotive advancement, from more powerful engines to more efficient fuels, and the widebody kit is no exception. Automotive design has changed immensely throughout cars' history, and even more so in recent decades. The widebody style as we know it today likely came around in the late 70s and early 80s when racing teams found that they were being restricted on the amount of power they could make, but not the amount of tire they could run. Manufacturers were making their cars as powerful and as light as possible, which often led to a lack of grip on the racetrack. They first started by making tires wider but moving them in underneath the stock body. This worked to an extent but started to interfere with the hard design points of the frame and the chassis. So one day somebody had the brilliant idea, why don't we just make the body wider? That way we could run bigger tires and not have to worry about conflicting with the frame design. And from that thought, the over fender / widebody kit was born. Manufacturing racing teams started to implement these wider body designs at everything from the World Rally stage to the Touring Car Championships. Since that time, independent aftermarket manufacturers have been coming up with their own original designs for widebody kits that the automotive community has been slapping onto their cars for about 30 years or so. Notable individuals such as Kei Mura of Rocket Bunny and Akira Nakai of RWB have been leading the way in aftermarket plastic surgery. But that's enough about the body kit history. Let's talk should you do it? Well, that's really a choice you're going to have to make on your own, but one of the biggest things to remember when you're considering this decision is that it's probably going to be more expensive than you might initially think. Not only do you have the cost of the kit itself, which can vary depending on if you go with an original kit or maybe a replica, but you've also got to consider the price of a new set of wheels and tires to fit your now chonky setup. You don't want to be that guy who gets super excited to finally slap on his widebody kit but forgets to buy a new set of wider wheels and end up with a jank setup looking like your car's been skipping leg day for the last 5 years. Also, the fenders are more than likely just going to come in a base color, so you're going to have to get those wrapped, if not having the entire car repainted. One of the other things you'll need to consider is function. And when I say function, I'm mostly referring to rubbing, as in your new tire setup rubbing on the inside of the fender liners or potentially even the frame under the wheel well. If we think back to the original reason why wide bodies and over fenders became a thing, the idea was to widen the body so that you could fit larger wheels and tires for more grip on the racetrack. If you're planning on going wide body, you want to make sure those tires aren't rubbing and that the frame isn't shaving off the corners of those brand new Federal 595s. This will likely mean cutting or even removing your fender liners, potentially going to full welded in tubs, or maybe even cutting or welding your frame. So just be prepared to encounter some major rubbing issues when you slap on those wider wheels. Also, something to consider is suspension. If you are not yet on adjustable coilovers, you're going to need something to lower your car. One of the main appeals of over fender is that sweet fender to lip look you get when your car is slammed. So this leaves you with a couple options. On the cheaper side, you've got height adjustable coilovers. Now this means you're going to be running static, and your ride quality will probably be terrible if you're trying to drive it at the same height that you want it to be parked. If you're going wide body for performance, there's a whole range of different setups you can go with. BC Racing is probably the most popular and well-known option, as the BR series coilovers run you about $1,000 depending on your car. On the other, more expensive side, you've got air suspension. Now, depending on how crazy you want to go with the aesthetic, you really can spend just as much on your air setup as you do with the rest of the Widebody build. If you're going with just a base airbag setup from a company like Airlift, you're probably looking around the $3,000 to $4,000 range depending on your car and other requirements. Now with all that in mind, if you're still dead set on widebodying your car and turning it into one heckin' chunk, then you've got your work cut out for you. Cutting and drilling your stock fenders is just about the scariest thing you'll ever do on your car because you can't go back. There are tons and tons of how to widebody your car videos here on YouTube, so I'm sure you can find the right resources to help you out. But you want to make sure that you check out a couple of different videos to get different perspectives from people who have done it before. Hint: some may have better ideas than others. Throughout the process, you'll get to completely demolish the value of your car, but that means you'll get to enjoy it just that much more. And really, that's what we're all here for. I personally plan to widebody my BRZ at some point, but right now is just not quite the right time for me, so it'll be a while before that happens. But that's gonna wrap it up for this episode, guys. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave it a like down below. Also, leave me a comment. What kind of content do you guys want to see next? I've got more engine reviews, how car stuff works videos, and much more planned for the future. So if you want to see more from me, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new, and we'll see you guys on the next one.